Hey guys, good morning. It's AJ here. This is going to be a short video just to give a brief statement as to what happened on the 12th of the February last week, so to speak. Today is the 18th of February. It's around 10 o'clock a.m. for the record. My name is AJ, aka Ahmed Jr., and I'm from Ottawa, Ontario. I've been there for 25 years. I'm an indigenous Palestinian born refugee in the city of Damascus, Syria. I've been naturalized citizen for the last 22 years, since 2003, I believe. So we immigrated here back in 1999. My father, the family, had immigrated here on a visa permit as a skilled worker. My father had applied, and in 1997, to 3 countries. Canada was one of them. In 1999, we got the immigration visa. So I went to high school, I went to university, I did aerospace electronic system design. I graduated, worked in the industry for over a decade with, basically tons of experience in different companies across, different markets, verticals and application domains, from semiconductor to hardware, product design, development, IoT, medtech, you name it, the whole shenanigan. Even software, I can do software. Basically, we were in the car, my friend and I, Abdul Hamid, and we were in the car. This is the rental that I had rented from Ottawa. I left Ottawa back in January the 16th, and on my way to Alberta to basically start a new chapter, life chapter that is, and focus on my business. So I had started my business 613 Solar in 2023. As I left the corporate world in 2021, I was making 6 figures, but suddenly, my ex is not happy with me leaving my job because I want to start my own business, and she seeks divorce. 2022 we got the divorce, no problem. We had an amicable divorce agreement. I've known my ex since 2008. We got married in 2012. We've had a beautiful child, born in 2015. She just turned 10, 2025, and this is kind of the background story as to why I am here in Alberta. So 3:30 in the morning. This is near Octopus, basically at the edge of the city in Calgary, near Octopus. And 3:30 in the morning, my friend Abdul and I, who happens also to be a Syrian sponsored refugee. He's only been here for 2 years, and it didn't turn out too good for my friend Abdul, but that's a separate issue. I will be representing him in court, but that's not the point. So my friend and I were sleeping in the car, and a call is made to the RCMP. The RCMP shows up on allegation, or basically suspicious car on the highway, or on the road on the side of the road. That's basically where I was parked. So we were on the way actually to Brooks, Madison had Brooks in particular, and I had shot a video when I was in Brooks, and I just felt like I fell in love with the village, man. I came to Calgary, when I shot that video, and I'll leave the link for it below. And essentially, I came to Calgary to connect with the community, and that's how I met Abdul Hamid, my brother, at the community mosque, so to speak. I came in to basically share my story and promote my business. And energy. Everybody needs energy, and I believe I have the right solution for not only Albertans, but Canadian as a whole. So the entire Canadians and everywhere. So the RCMP shows up, comes along, and knocks on the window, wakes me up. It's 3:30 in the morning. It's minus 25 degrees or so, and I produce my passport. The guy looks surprised, like, "What is this? Why am I producing my passport?" And I show, "This is my passport." Clearly, the license plate is Ontario. He has no jurisdiction whatsoever, anyways, to come and issue any ticket. I don't live in the province just yet. My intent is to come and relocate here and establish my business, but I want to go back and basically get my life back in Ottawa, my hometown. But right now Ottawa is not safe. That's why another reason why I left. Like, there's a woman who got stabbed to death, a mother, in front of her kids in Ottawa. This was in October. I believe it was October 24th, if I'm not mistaken, and it made shockwave, in the entire community, that a mother had been stabbed to death, in broad daylight, and at large. They are accusing your man, but the story goes beyond that. This is not for me to tell you, but I'm speaking from my own experience. So I come here, and the RCMP now insists that I produce my driver license, which I did in good faith, not because I need a driver license to produce. I already gave him my identification. The car was immobile. The car is stationary on the road, on the side of the road. All I need to give you is my passport. So minutes later he comes back, and he doesn't know how to approach me, and he tells me, "Oh, you have a suspended driver license in Ontario." Well, I did not know that, because last I checked, I rented the car, and if my driver license was suspended, I would not be able to actually rent the car in the first place. So he tells me that my driver license has been suspended since the 19th of January. Well, that's news, because guess what? Days before that, I was just released, from an unlawful detainment. I was unlawfully detained at a Marford Hospital, because again I was asserting my natural rights and freedom. Now they are trying to impose and force their bullshit assessment on me, medical assessment on me, that somehow I'm unfit to drive. Like, what nonsense is this? Unilaterally, the government of Ontario and the Minister of Transportation unilaterally revoke and suspend my driver license indefinitely without a just cause. I had just been released from the hospital, on the 14th. Again, I was detained there for 3 weeks against my will, against my consent, and they have been in violation of my natural rights and freedom. I come to Alberta, I made the drive from Ottawa. If you don't understand, Ottawa to Calgary is about 3,800 kilometers, and I put just as much mileage, around 4,000 kilometers, just in Alberta, between Edmonton, an area, as well as Calgary, an area. So I've been to Spruce Grove. I went all the way west of Edmonton. I went to Vigorville, east of Edmonton, all the way down to Octocus and Medicine Hat, Brooks, and I'm just trying to get a feel of the province. The reason why I came here, Alberta, is because Alberta has its own fight against the federal government and Ottawa, with respect to net zero, and I am here essentially to help with that, because I also do not agree with the net zero scam, because I am an engineer, aerospace electronic system design, and I've been posting since I started my 613 solar in Ottawa in 2023, 2022, and previous to that I was helping my friend with his own solar and renewable business. When it came to my business in 613 Solar, I basically started with simple marketing. I am on LinkedIn, professional website. I've been there for, I've been a member since 2009, since I graduated my university in aerospace electronics. And that was the pro tip I should be getting, a LinkedIn profile. And, start networking and talking to, potential employers. Now, I had experience and I had jump-started my career at Alcatel, which is actually, or was now, a French-based telecom company. This is the .com in Ottawa. Ottawa is considered the Silicon Valley North, so to speak. So, if you're in university or college and trying to work on the latest gadgets and high-tech, Ottawa is your destination if you don't go to California and the United States of America. In my case, I decided to stay near my family because I was the only, caregiver, so to speak. My mom and my sister had been living with me at my own house that I bought at age 21. So, 2022, I go through divorce. My mother, she leaves the house. My house is there. But, and I'm going through, so to speak, life motion, and everything was fine up until, the November the 17th of 2023. That's when I first got assaulted by the the Gatineau police in Aylmer. And they broke my tooth, right? It's dislodged. You can see it here. This tooth has been basically dislodged and broken by no other than the thugs, Gatineau police, which that was on the 17th of November 2023. I went about, my court motion. I went to the first court appearance on the March the 15th. They had given me basically a promissory note to appear before the court, which I did. On the 15th of March, I received my disclosure for the first court appearance on May 2nd. May 2nd, I got to choose because those were criminal charges that they were, they served me. The offense was a criminal charges. So, breaking and entry, assault for a police officer, big crime. But again, when you look at the facts and the events, and what transpired, they have assaulted a citizen of this land unlawfully, right? And they are in breach of my inalienable natural rights and freedom. And because again, they are in breach of trust. Section 122 of the criminal code. That's breach of public trust. So I go to my second court appearance on May 2nd, and I request public trial with the jury. And previous to that, I said I want a public inquiry as well as to what happened, because there must be a judicial review. Given a July date, I believe it was July the 2nd, but Quebec does not celebrate Canada Day, which is July 1st. Go figure. The nation of Quebec, Quebecois, right? They do not celebrate Canada Day. So the 1st of July was a holiday. Then the Tuesday would have been my public inquiry date. But on the 20th of June would have been a Friday. I receive an email all in fucking French. I don't speak a word French, and in my right, I have the right to be basically spoken with and communicate with in my language. The primary language, last time I checked, I live in Canada, official language is English, primary, and secondary is being French. So, they just disregard, they are the nation of Quebec and they have their unique needs, but they disregard everybody else's, unique needs and, national rights, which are safeguarded by the Constitution. So I put it's not difficult. I put the French text into Google Translate, and I understand from the gist of it that basically the subpoena for the witness to come and testify, against me before the court, which is not to basically appear anymore. And guess what? They're postponing now. As opposed to dropping the charges, they're acting in bad faith, and they're postponing it till August 16. August 16 comes along. I show up to the courthouse. This is Hotel de Ville on I believe it's on 17 Laurier, Gatineau, right? So anyways, I show up, I was about an hour late because every time I show up to the courthouse, you're waiting. So, at that point, my court was scheduled for, I believe, 9 o'clock, but I arrived an hour late. But it wasn't until 11:15 or 15ish or so, when I was allowed to, get into the courthouse, as I made myself available before the judge. And, for 2 hours, they're inside. Like, the whole proceeding is happening. The court proceeding is happening without the accused. I'm the accused. I'm outside. And everybody's inside. The interpreter, the witnesses, that they call so-called witnesses, which I don't know where they got from. But anyways, I go inside the courthouse. There were over 16 cops when you count the officer at the door as well. So I enter. There's, 4 rows. If you've ever been to a provincial courthouse, there's 4 rows on each side. And each row is of 4 seat capacity, so you can just do the math. 4 times 4, 16. We have 2 sections, the 32. But one section, I only see the 2 officers that actually had committed the offense against me, and assaulted me. And that was on the right hand side. On the left hand side, there was a total of 12 cops, like the 3 rows times 4, all police officers. I could see them with my peripheral visions. I did not have to look at each individual face, but from my peripheral visions, I could see the first 3 rows were occupied by police officers because of the uniform. And then you have your witnesses and the interpreter at the back. So I walk in, at 11:13, 15, something around that time. I even have the recording. I requested the transcript, the audio transcript, and to my surprise, they only give me the last 5 minutes of the proceeding. Why? I requested the entire proceeding. I was, it's a public record. This is my case. Why are you only giving me 5 minutes of recording? So, anyways, and basically, when I stand before the judge, the Crown prosecutor stands up, and now she basically wants to bring a motion to, and her motion was to basically dismiss charge number 1. So now I, ask the judge and, the Crown prosecutor exactly what charge number 1 is, the count. They're trying to give me disclosure. I do not read French. I'm asking you in simple terms, English. You can speak to me. I can understand what you're saying. So they tell me basically they are dropping, count number 1. And count number 1 essentially is a break and entry and, mischief, which, of course, I did not do anything. So, of course, they have to drop it. But here's the thing. When you drop the primary, ground for your, for your case, secondary ground must also be dropped. But again, they're acting in bad faith. And now they want to reduce, motion 2, they want to reduce the charges from, section blah, blah, blah to section blah, blah, blah. And I did not understand a word they said, but it doesn't matter. I know what it means, from a high level. They're going from indictment to summary conviction. So it's now, somehow just a fine to pay. Of course, I do not consent to these charges, and I insisted that I take my matter to the Superior Court of Justice in Quebec. So the judge looks at the Crown prosecutor, and she tells her, well, motion dismissed. It's going now to be before the Superior Court. And you should see the look at the friggin', Crown prosecutor. She was like, turning red, turning upside down. Like she was just, you could tell she was so under stress. So she now, the Crown prosecutor, the Crown prosecutor is now making the recommendation that I, the accused, agreed to the lesser charges as to not to affect my criminal record. Why? I did nothing wrong. You are just trying to frame me for bullshit. So I said no. And guess what? I was given a Superior Court of Justice date on the 17th of September. Now, on the 10th of September. My bad. 10th of September. Now, And that's the interesting part, because a week later, August 16th, I left the courthouse. I was so happy. I have pictures. I sent my sister. I was smiling ear to ear, and, I'm just going with the motion. I have no reason to run away from the law. I can simply go and represent myself, self-represented. So now, on August 24th, a week after, I'm in Ottawa, and that's basically where the whole mishap starts from that point on, because I get pulled over in Ottawa on the 24th of August by some incompetent schmuck, a police officer by the name of Yusuf. He's only 23 years of age, and when I inquire, as I talked to him, when I was in the cruiser. So essentially, I got pulled over. Whoop whoop. I pull over on Parkdale near Scott area. So this is like Tony Spasher in Ottawa, if you know Ottawa. And the police officer comes in before you know it, without any warning signs. He opens the door. He demands I leave my car. I was under arrest. So I exclaim, like, how come? Oh, well, your driver license is suspended. Well, guess what, buddy? That's too bad, because last I checked, you do not go to jail just for a suspended driver license. You have to have a bit better reason. I have my insurance, valid insurance policy, and I have my driver license, which I did not know that was suspended, allegedly. I knew it was expired because on the, this was August 24th. So August 4th, I had gone to U-Haul to, remove some, boxes and stuff out of my house, because I want to finish renovating it or cleaning it so I could rent it. And that's my only source of income right now. That's exactly what's happening. So, I go and I'm thinking to myself, well, August 24th, so now I'm under arrest for no reason. He put me in the back of the cruiser. They proceeded into searching myself without a search warrant, unlawfully. Again, look, I'm not against you pulling me over. That's not the contestation. That's not the issue. But then you pull me over, and then you demand I leave the car. I was under arrest just because I am a Canadian citizen who happens to know his rights. And guess what? I produced my passport. I showed you my passport. I did not have my ID on me, my driver license, because, like I said, I was moving that day on the 4th of August, and, I misplaced it. I must have misplaced it. So anyways, and I knew it was expired, so I had no need of it. And it's not that I did not want to renew it. I would renew it. I actually did reinstate my driver license after I was out of jail. But let's take you back to the incident. So, I get pulled over, the police officer, I'm out of the vehicle, I'm under arrest, I'm being searched, they put me in the back of my car, face down on my trunk, I'm, straight my leg, they tap me, and then they proceed into taking me into their, cruiser. I'm at the back of the cruiser handcuffed. And they strip search my car, right? They strip search my car, and, they come back and tell me, oh, do you live in your car? What's it to you where I live? You have all the paperwork that you need to do. I gave my passport. They came back and they told me, oh, we found your driver license. Great, good for you. Keep it. It's expired anyways. I knew it was expired. Well, they found it. Good for you. And then they come back and basically they coup my car. They confiscate the driver license and the health card, so to speak. And whatever else there's been there. I don't know if they actually have the health card, but I can't find it. When I went back to pick up my belongings, it wasn't there. So I'm assuming they have it because it's property of the government of Ontario. So, before you know it, and I'm in the back of the cruiser, I'm talking to them, and that's how, I got to talk to them for the next 20 minutes. It was, the officer, what's his name? Yusuf. And also you had a senior officer by the name of Brandon. I don't have the badge number because that is the disclosure that I have yet to receive. This is from August 24th incident. So what happened was, as I was being released from the police cruiser, there were two commissioned offenses that they were going to serve me. One is for suspended driver license. The other one was for basically, possession of cannabis. I had 3.5 grams of cannabis as they went through my car. I had just bought that, 3.5 gram of cannabis. It is legal. It is within my right to go and buy cannabis. I did not smoke. I do not smoke while I drive. I do not smoke, period. I do not smoke to get stoned. I smoke to relax. It's my natural right. So now they have a reason to arrest me. But guess what? They released me and they gave me the two commission offense. One under the Cannabis Act, for possessing of 3.5 grams of cannabis. But I did not, of course, consent to these charges, and I walked away. I did not actually take these two offenses, the two tickets. Because remember, if you want to apply the law, you should apply the law. So my driver license is expired. That's the one. Okay, they found cannabis. That's another one. Presumably, if it was illegal, but it's not illegal. It is all legal. It's all legal, So 3.5 grams, it's not like I'm a drug lord, man. I'm an entrepreneur, CEO of my own life. I went to high school, university, aerospace electronics, and I went through life motion. I went to, I worked in the industry, the startup life, so to speak. I am a man of multiple hats. I know my rights. I know my responsibility as a law-abiding citizen. You, on the other hand, schmuck police, you think you know shit. You don't know nothing. You are municipal. You are right here at the municipal court. There's something called municipal court. So if you look at the triangle, there's municipal court. There's, lower court. There's upper court, superior court, and then you have the federal, which is Supreme Court of Canada. And now I have a court case before the Supreme Court of Canada for my child custody because, again, that's kind of where everything got complicated. So, when I basically was released from the car, the cruiser, I was given a commission offense, and I refused, and I walked away. I flipped the birds and I walked away because, yeah, that's right. You don't go to jail because you flipped the bird to the, incompetent law officer that has just violated and breached, your national rights and freedom as safeguarded by the Constitution. Section 1, 2, 6, 7, 8 of, the Charter or the Constitution Act 1982. But previous to that, if you want to talk more, well, Section 92 of the BNA Act 1867, you have no jurisdiction. You are a corporation. I am asserting my own sovereignty. Section 92 of the BNA Act 1867 exactly allows me to do just that. I am not coming up with my own laws. This is your own law. This is Canada. Welcome to Canada. So, when I study history, when I go to high school, I study geography, and I had to study for my citizenship exam. Right? Not everybody can be a citizen. Citizenship is a privilege, yes, but that's corporate citizenship. That is your corporate citizenship because Canada is just a corporation. And you have the federal government as a central agency that is basically overseeing the entire, provinces. So you have 10 provinces, 3 territories, and Alberta is now fighting against the federal government in Ottawa because of net zero, because, net zero is essentially taxing the shit out of you for, burning, fossil fuel, so to speak. It's liquid carbon, man. Liquid carbon. And then, you essentially are going to pay through the nose. Right now we have, if you live in Ontario, you pay around 17.3 cents per liter, of carbon tax per liter for gasoline. 17.3 cent liter, which amounts to roughly, over 15% more. So I'll have to do the math, but nonetheless, I've done the math before. I'm just speaking from my mind. This is the result of a research that I've been doing since 2023 June, and I essentially, what happened was, as I walked away from the police officers, I remember I refused to take the two tickets, and now I come back within 20 minutes. The officer words, not my word, that my car would be on the road. They would not tow my car because I had valid insurance paper. Of course, you had no jurisdiction to tow my car, right? In the first place, that would be theft. So I come back within 20 minutes, out of the blue, like coincidentally, if you want to call that. I do not believe in coincidences. Everything happens for a reason. So I have not seen this person for over, 15 years. 2010, last time I believe I saw him, because I finished in 2009, but I would still go to university because of my ex at the time. She was my fiance at the time. And, my friend, Buria, he was near Parkdale, and I see a guy with a dog, and I just want to approach the guy to actually use his phone number. And as soon as the person turned his back to me, I recognized it was my buddy and friend Buria from university. And he goes upstairs. He just told me he lives here. He had a newborn, so he went upstairs to let his wife know, which I've known. Also, my friend, a good friend actually. And I don't want to mention her name. So essentially, he comes downstairs. Within 20 minutes, we were back to the scene. Suddenly, I see a tow truck from SMC Towing, right? SMC Towing in Ottawa. The most crook you can have, right? The most crook you can have. So you have now, the corrupt police, right, who made a private call. It seems that they made a private call because they did not have any authorization from to tow my vehicle. Within 20 minutes, the friggin' tow truck flatbed was there. So I'm there, and I see the flatbed, and I'm like, it better not be for my car. So I had given my key to my buddy, Buria, because, again, I had come, and I'm, honoring my word. The police officer told me you can come back and pick up your vehicle, within the hour, and, it's your parent, it's your family or friend that has a valid driver license. Come back. Obviously, my key is with my friend. I'm not back to drive my car. I wanted to just simply have my car off the road. So, it's in a private, a private spot where my buddy lives nearby. And that's it. I go about figuring out what the hell just happened with my driver license and why it has been suspended. But no, now they are about to tow my car, and that's when I started my natural rights again, and I was contesting a lawful seizure of my property. So I'm, trying to, reason with the tow truck driver, because now my buddy, for some reason, I gave him the key, but somehow the key ends up in the hands of the police officer, Brandon. Obviously, I'm the rightful owner, unauthorized owner of the vehicle. He cannot hold onto my property, so he leaves it on the hood. Now, who grabs it before I do? The tow truck driver. And I'm trying to reason with the tow truck driver that he had no consent, no authorization, to hold my private property. This is theft. Does not care. He goes about, and now the other officers trying to basically apprehend me and put me under arrest because I'm simply asserting my right. And within this time frame, I figured, you know what, there's no point to having altercation with the police officer. So I'm calling now. I called 911. I called 911 myself. I did the right thing as a law-abiding citizen. I just called 911 to basically report, the stealing of my vehicle. It just so happened to be the fucking corrupt cops in Ottawa and their complicit stooges of SMC towing group, right? So, before you know it, within 2 minutes, the 911 cruisers arrived at the scene. And I was running towards them. I was running away from the cop, the crooked cop, the one who had just violated my natural rights and freedom and trying to impose their bullshit laws, man-made, not even laws, they're regulations, city regulations, they're municipalities. They don't even exist, So now I'm running towards the friggin', the 911 staff, and suddenly I'm shot. I'm shot with a taser. I'm running towards you. Why are you shooting?